What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week so far. We are here to talk about the first episode of Spider-Noir over on Amazon Prime, which dropped yesterday, May 27th. Now, real quick, because I was not expecting this series to drop all of its episodes in one day. I was expecting this series to do weekly releases. So it kind of threw me off a little bit to go in to watch the first episode and see, oh, all 8 episodes are here. So there's two ways we're probably going to go about it. Either one, we are going to talk about episode 1 in this video. So the next video is either going to be me talking about episode 2, or it's just going to be me talking about the entire series as a whole. I kind of want to do it episode by episode because I feel like it gives me a good opportunity to talk about the episodes and just give my general thoughts about it. So first and foremost, this was a project that I had been really anticipated for, and I was really excited to see. It was announced, I don't think not long after Into the Spider-Verse, that this was in development. Obviously, we get Nicolas Cage back, which is great. I do love Nicolas Cage. Let me pull up some things real quick. Um, there were some questions about some of the characters. So far in this, so primarily was episode 1. We're gonna just stick with that. Episode 1, obviously you have Ben Riley, which I'm trying to remember what. Let me see. Who did Nicolas Cage play? I know he played Spider-Noir, but I want to see which version of that was, because he played a. Well, it just says Spider-Noir. I don't remember which version, but beside the point, they make it clear in the opening montage of episode 1 that this is basically not the same Spider-Noir that we saw in Into the Spider-Verse, or even at the end of Across the Spider-Verse. It's not the same one. So that is a little upsetting, because I think a lot of people had the thought that this was going to be the same one, because he talks about how in the opening of episode 1, where he says, somebody wants to ask me what universe this is, and he's like, I don't know, this is the only universe that I know. So that kind of sucks. Um, but it still doesn't take away from the overall episode. And so you can watch this series in black and white, like a true noir style, or you can watch it in color. And originally, I was just kind of like, when we first got the trailer and they announced that we're going to do that, I was thinking I would just rather this be noir. Like, it just makes sense. Um, Now, what my plan is, what we're going to do throughout these, either the individual reviews or the overall, just talk about season 1, is I'm gonna watch this in black and white first, and then I'm gonna go back and then watch it in color, because I do want to see what it looks like with the color. So now, obviously, episode 1 essentially takes place, was Ben Riley talking about. It has been 5 years since he has been the Spider. He basically stopped being the Spider after the death of Ruby Williams, the girl of his dreams, the one he was about to ask to marry. We get a flashback in the episode where it looks like he couldn't save her, but it also looks like she was handcuffed to a steering wheel. So that is going to be interesting to see how or why she was killed throughout these episodes. We do know throughout these 5 years, Silvermane has been running the place. Crime is rampant. The police are in Silvermane's pocket. So we do get some classic Spider-Man characters in this. We've got, let me bring up uh Lamont Morris, I probably butchered that name, who plays Robbie Robertson, which I would assume we do see like clips of like what is called the Daily Special, which probably a little bit different from the Daily Bugle or something like that. But we do get that kind of like information right there. He seems to be like a reporter as well, which is pretty nice. Um, Lee Jun Lee, who is playing Cat Hardy. Now that is um, it is an interesting choice. Obviously, I don't think we're gonna get like a. I don't think even if there's a season two, I just don't think we're gonna get like her wearing like a noir style black cat suit. I don't think we're gonna get that. So it kind because the thing about Black Cat is the sex appeal and things like that. Um, Lee Jun Lee she looks to be a very attractive woman, but I just feel like we're probably not going to get that kind of thing. So um, I'll just talk about the main ones who appear in episode one. We get Jack Houston, who is playing Flint Marco. So we get Sandman as well. Um, and it really looks like from Ben Riley's perspective, a reaction from not only Flint Marco, but what was his name? Let me find him. It was shoot, where was his name? It was uh Flint Marco. I have to go back in and try to find it. Um, shoot, I had to like try to find the individual episode because I forgot his name. There we go. So we have Addison. So we have a guy named Addison. I don't think he may have a comic book name. I'm not entirely sure, but he is wanted by Silvermane because we learned in episode one that he burned down Silvermane's home, but obviously Silvermane was able to escape, and so Silvermane had put out some guys to hire private investigators to find Addison and bring him in, probably to use him for nefarious reasons, or it sounds like somebody tried to take Silvermane out, and so he wants to know who it was. Um, Ben kind of trying to track him down, but then he gets interrupted by a guy named where's his name? Donegal, um, who ends up killing Addison after he witnessed both him and Riley see Addison burst into flames. I don't want to say it's like Molten Man or something like that. I can't think of what the proper like Spider-Man villain name would be for that. But needless to say, um, it doesn't end well for Donegal for sure, because he ultimately they learn later in the episode that um they were hired by Silvermane to find Addison, and Donegal gets the idea of trying to maybe blackmail um Silvermane for like money and things like that. Obviously, that does not go well for him towards the end of the episode. Um, this is set because there you see like several little newspaper clippings because the moment in the episode where because Ben has also been hired at this point by this guy thinks his wife is cheating on him, who we find to be Cat Hardy, played by Lee Jun Lee. We see later like he has a newspaper sitting as he stakes out the Red Cliff, and we see like a what was it Hitler something like Hitler removes Jewish editors or something like that. Some kind of like beginning of like the rise of Nazism in Germany because this is set during the Great Depression, so the World War II has not happened yet at this point. Um, so I thought I thought it was a pretty good episode. I know I think I just love Nicolas Cage. I wish they would have maybe done this a little bit, maybe 10 years sooner. I don't know. I want to say 10 years sooner. Um, He just because he his it's just age. That's just mainly the thing with it. It's just like his age is just kind of like he's up there. I can't remember how exactly how old he is at this point. Um, but visually, I love the noir look. It's gonna be interesting to go back and watch it with the color spectrum on it. But I just love the look of New York at night with this noir filter and everything. It just feels something straight out of the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Looks really really good. The clothing, costume design looks great as well. Um, I'm gonna be very curious to see on what else happens throughout these next 7 episodes. Um, I'm trying to think what else about it. I don't think there was relatively anything bad about it. I would probably say there's a part where because for one, Flint Marco works for Cat Hardy, but there's like a moment where like the singing sequence with Lee Jun Lee was going on. Not her singing was bad. It's just I think the way they shot it just it looked just a little weird because it did like this camera zoom in thing. Now I know basically what it was doing was building that connection between Riley and Hardy. It was a little weird. It was a little weird for me, but I thought singing wise, I thought she was great. I think she has a great singing voice. Um, so yeah, I'm curious to see on what's going to cause him to go back and put back on the mask. Because like I said, it has been about 5 years since he was the Spider. Um, I do love it. He talks about how Ruby said, "With great power comes great responsibility," and he mentions how Ruby was his greatest responsibility. Even Robbie said because like in this universe, it seems Robbie knows that he Riley was a spider, and he's even talking about it. It even says how would Ruby feel hearing you talk the way you are, and he's like Ruby's been dead for 5 years. It doesn't matter what she would think. It's very understandable. He's still very torn up about it. That was the love of his life, even though it has been 5 years since then. He's given up being the spider. He's just a regular private eye. Um, he still cares. And then what else was it? I thought the effects of Sandman, I thought they did relatively well. It wasn't full blown sand like you would have maybe seen in like a cartoon or even Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. It his hands definitely looked like sand. His face had like sand particles on it. But for the most part, I thought it was relatively good what they did with it. So we do know there's other villains involved in this series. I believe Electro is involved in this series. I think maybe Vulture is also involved in this series. Um, so I mentioned earlier, is this like the first? It feels like watching Ben Riley's reaction to both seeing Addison and then seeing Marco and their powers. This kind of feels like the first time he is seeing other beings with superpowers. Now I could be wrong about that, um, but that just seems to be the case. Because if he would have encountered Addison or even Marco before, surely he would remember them at some point previously when he was fully active as the Spider. So um, now that I think about it, because in Into the Spider Verse, that Spider Noir talks about how he likes punching Nazis, but in the Amazon Prime version, they're not at war with Germany yet. So I know I mentioned how the montage mentions how he hasn't been to any other universe. I wonder if that's like he hasn't been to any other universe yet, and like he somehow ends up like the ending of his series puts him into the Spider Verse. I don't know. I just now thought about that, and I thought that would be kind of interesting if that happen. But then again, it just could be like the creators of the show saying, hey, we kind of want to be our own thing. We don't want to be attached to the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. We kind of want to tell our story and things like that, which if that's the case, that's fine. I do kind of respect them, you know, getting that out of the way, because that again, like I talked about it, I was thinking that this was the same noir from the Spider-Verse movies, and it's nice that they were just like, no, it's not, and we kind of just want to tell our own story with this particular character and things like that. So kind of respect that. It's not a big deal with me. But yeah, I think overall episode 1, enjoyed it. Love Nicolas Cage. I think like Lee Ju Lee is very attractive. I think she potentially can make a pretty good Cat Hardy. Like I mentioned, I don't think we're going to get like a black cat in this series. I'd be surprised if we do, but I just don't think we are. Um, the costume designs look great. Look like they're straight out of the 30s, Depression era, early 40s. And I look forward to seeing how this series plays out. I'm really excited for this series. I still wish it was more of a weekly release than what they're doing, but it is what it is. Just got to roll with it. But guys, that is basically it for this episode 1 review. So like I said, either I will have a episode 2 review out, or I'll just have the overall season 1 review out. We'll just see how things go. But guys, thank you again for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you are new to the channel, you can follow me here. Hit that subscribe button. You can also watch on Kick, Twitch, Rumble, the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.